So I've taken the engine out, I've given it a wash, and I've put it on this lovely stand that my wife bought me for my birthday. I'm very proud of. Taken the push rods out, or 7 of them, and this one here is well jammed in. It looks like it's bent, so I think this may be why the engine seized up. It's got something to do with that. I can see also that a couple of the valves are stuck down, number 1 and number 4. So I'll get the head off and we'll see what the situation is. So I've taken the rockers off and pulled all the push rods out that I could get out, and taken all the head bolts off, but I can't get the head off. It's loose, but it just won't move. So I've spun the engine over, and I've taken the sump off, and it's clear now, if I can get the torch on there, that the big ends that were sitting in oil, that's number 2 and number 3 there, look fine, but if I look at number 1, you see, look, it's totally rusted up. So that's probably why it's seized up, I expect. And number 4 has got a little bit of rust on, but not quite so much. So I think the best thing to do now is to strip the bottom end and take a look, see what's going on. So I decided to turn it back over and have another go at getting the head off, and it's off, yay! But I don't think I've ever seen an engine quite as coked up, as bad as this. It's unbelievably bad. So I don't know what they were doing with this thing, but that's why 2 of the valves are stuck open. But it's just so much coke in it. Such a mess. The engine's now stripped down. I've got a bunch of parts there. I could only get 2 pistons out though, so the other 2 are well and truly stuck in there at the moment. Next step is to do a bit of electrolysis. So I've now got the block in a big bin of water with soap and connected to a battery charger. So now we've got to let the electrolysis process work, and hopefully that will de-rust the block, and in maybe, I don't know, 4 days I'll have something that looks nice and shiny and new. Let's see how it goes. Very exciting day for me. I've just got back from the machine shop. I'm all of the block has been rebored out. Look at that, lovely honed finishes in there, and there's a little bit of plasticine on there. I think it's original numbers matching engine. This is, so you put a big lump of plasticine over the engine number there just to protect it. So I'll rub all that plasticine off, but looking really good, loving that. So that's ready for a bit of paint and start to reassemble, and I've got some brand new pistons to go in them with their rings, which is great, all very nice, and some shells there as well, so for the crank. And look at the head, look at that, looks like new. Look at that, really machined that up nicely they have. All new valves, hardened seats in there as well, so I can take unleaded petrol, and it's all been skimmed. Looking good. So now I've just got to get the thing back together. Yesterday I focused on removing just the flash rust from the outside of the head and the block, and then spraying up both of these to give them some protection. While I now put the engine back together. So the head's looking great. Oops. And I've just put the crank shaft back in, so that's gone really well. I think my focus has been, you know, most of my effort has been on just keeping everything really clean. And just cleaning every part before I put it all back, and that's gone back in really quite well. I've got obviously new shells for all of the journals, so now I've just got to get some nuts on there and torque that down to 70 foot-pounds, and then I think I've got to order some more parts. Something else I was going to show you, yeah. So just as I'm starting to put it all back together, I just had a quick look at the cam and I realised I've got some really bad pitting on that lobe. The rest of it's fine, but that's just beyond repair. So as soon as I've took those nuts down, those main bearing nuts, I'm going to go and look online and see if I can find myself a nice camshaft. That'll be my next job. Cranks in and torqued up. Now pistons next. I've got nice new shells on here, and spring compressor, and the job is now just to, if I remember which way round, the right way, this way. Just have to slip them on or in, and give them a tap. Have another go at that then. Well, the lesson there is to make sure that the spring compressor, if it's very, very flimsy, is completely lined up and pressed against the block so the spring doesn't slip out from underneath before it enters the block. So here we go, let's try again. There we go, done. Super, that's two more to go. I decided to fit a new timing chain. The other one was a little bit slack, and that looks a lot better now. I've got obviously a new tensioner on there as well. So that's all on. I've set this up as well now for top dead center on the compression stroke. So I've got on this particular one, the aligning dots are one's there and the other one's at 180 degrees, which I've seen on other forums and videos that in some cases that is the case. So I know that that's top dead center. Got nice new pistons in there as well. Plus 30, I don't know if you can see that, thou. Slightly larger than standard pistons as it's been bored out slightly. And I've got my new studs in. So next job is to fit the distributor on, get that set up, and then I'm going to put the head on. And then rockers and all the next stage. So I've got to put the oil filter on and some of the ancillary bits and pieces in there. The engine mounts are on. Got some nice cleaned and new brackets and things in there, which looks quite smart. And I managed to free up as well the tachometer drive, so that's really was running really nicely, so I put that on now. Just going to need to get a new stud for that end, so it's coming along looking pretty good. And here it is, finished, all back together, nicely painted up. I put the head on, I think from the last section, and the rockers. The first thing I did was set the distributor up while I had the engine, the top first cylinder at top dead center. So I did that first, and then put the rockers on, set the gaps for all those. It's taken me a couple of weeks because I've been waiting for parts. I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of the video, one of the push rods looked like it was bent. Well, it wasn't actually bent, but it had been running. Well, not set. I don't know if you can see that, but obviously focus very well. But there we go. The top of this push rod is flattened off because it's not been sitting actually in the cup. The cup hasn't been sitting in the nipple of the tappet, so it's skewed to one side. So that was useless. So I've replaced that one. And I've got new followers, a whole set of new followers to go with the new camshaft. And the other thing I was waiting for was a new oil pump. I looked at this and it just to me looked as if there was just too much wear on that. I don't know if that comes out in the picture, you can see that. But I just wasn't happy, so I ordered a new oil pump and put that in. So there you go. So now that's ready to go back in to the frame, which I'll do. I'm just going to order a new clutch first and then assemble that. And yesterday I cleaned the gearbox up. Now the gearbox seems to select really well, so I'm not going to refurbish this. I'll just change the oil, but it took me all day to get the muck off. There's 60 years of muck on that, but it seems to have come up really nice. So I was thinking about painting it, but if this is what it looks like after 60 years, then I don't think it needs a coat of paint. So that will go back in at the same time I put the engine in, and I'll make another video when that's all in there, just so you can see it completed.